I went and saw the movie Weapons, which was fantastic. I saw it with my mom and dad, and they loved it. It was the
Nice.
best movie I've seen all year. It was so good. I don't even want to talk about it because I'm gonna ruin it. If I say anything, I'll ruin it. It was
Oh,
so good.
don't then.
Going
I'm ready
totally
for some good
blind.
movie.
Well, when I went to the liquor store today, I wanted to get a pumpkin beer because I was like, by the time this airs, it'll probably make more sense. It'll probably be closer to October. But he couldn't find it in the system, and he didn't sell it to me. So I had to get
What?
um a Miss Pillion, which this is not today, Satan. So Miss Pillion River, that's in Milford. And actually, my dad built the building, not for Miss Pillion River. He built it for to be a welding shop, but he did build the building. And I was there. I put in some of the wire mesh in the foundation for this building. So I helped create this beer in a way.
Nice. You laid the foundation of the brewery for the process to be able to occur. I love it. That's crazy they wouldn't sell you the beer. It's like, "I just wanna buy this, but you won't sell it to me." I also went local, but I had more success than you did apparently, and I have Shucking Pumpkin from Big Oyster Brewing Company. So it's a pumpkin spice ale.
I had that.
Eh Dude, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. Sorry we're doing this virtually. I have a 4-pack of it. I coulda give you one, but here we go.
They wouldn't sell it to me. It was
Insane.
so annoying. I was like, can I have it
Yes,
for
we're
free?
on
And
the
they
same
said, no.
page. But pumpkin
I
spice
don't
is
even
so
want to.
good.
I don't even want to drink mine. It's gonna taste like just ash in my mouth. It's not gonna actually it's pretty good. It's actually pretty good. But
Hey,
this is our final week of round one. So I'm pretty excited to get into more than some of the opening pages for these. So this is the last group I did. And I picked these ones because they kind of felt like they were close on brand with my last book. And I thought it'd be a chance for me to plug my book. But these are nothing like my book. The one has airships in
nice.
it, but then the other one, it had like they said it was like gas lamp, and it had this kind of it. The cover had this sort of noirish look. So I was like, that kind of fits in with my last book, The Skyman's Legacy, available now. But no, they're totally different. So you actually just started reading these today. So you are coming
Yeah,
in
I
just
was a big
totally hot off the presses here.
For real, for real. So we took a last of the summer trip before the kids go back to school. So I knew there wasn't really gonna be any reading, but I thought maybe I'd read them then, but it didn't happen. So then, yes, I was crunching on these around lunchtime. I think I read enough to make my decision, but honestly, I would have found myself probably reading the entire preview of these both just
Really?
to have a confidence decision making. So it kind of reminds me of some of the other books we've read where I kind of wanted to keep going. So for me, I was intrigued by both of them, but yeah, it's some interesting choices this week. I kind of felt like the one with the airship kind of reminded me of your book, at least as far as if you were to pick up the cover. Well, not the cover art, but the start of the book and then your cover art. The other one I was kind of intrigued by too with the cover art and just kind of how it kicks off. But hey, where are we gonna start? Where are we jumping in on this one?
The first one I got into was this Necessity of Rain one. It has a fantastic cover. It kind of reminded me, I don't have it pulled up or anything, but it kind of felt a little like Wizard of Ozzy a little bit, like that kind of green
Oh,
sort of noir-ish thing. But I thought it was a great cover. I mean, did you and I think you mentioned earlier, I mean, you liked the cover too. Just really,
I
really good
definitely
cover. And then she's got an author's note, which again, usually I don't, I mean, usually I can take or leave those. She had a very nice author's note. And when I read the author's note, I was like, man, she's really good. She's got a really good feel for like a cadence of like narration, that sort of musicality of how you structure sentences and stuff. She's very good. I mean, she's actually an editor. So, I mean, you could
oh,
tell it was, I mean, she's good. But then I got into chapter one, and we talked about this in the past as far as like fantasy books and taking a little bit of time to get into. I was a little like I was not really into it. I mean, there's a lot going on, and she starts with this big emotional beat, like somebody on their deathbed dying. But I mean, it's not a person. It's a falcon. It's a falcon. I remember there were feathers, but it was just really confusing. And when you open a book with somebody dying, it's like I don't even know this person. I don't really feel anything. Like if you go back to the Button Boy book that we read a couple of weeks ago, I actually felt more reading that, which is much more mundane than I did reading this. I mean, but give me your thoughts on your opening. How far did you get in The Necessity of Rain?
I read the first part says, like, 3 years ago, like, that chapter.
Yeah.
So, like, with okay. So, I read all that, and then I tried to, like, jump into the first few pages of the next chapter, but, timing-wise, that's why I kinda wish I know. So, we have been talking about how if you only read the introduction or an introduction part of chapter 1 and not a full chapter, that sometimes you're not getting that hook that we sort of talked about in some of the original book battles. So, for this one, I felt like I'm nervous that I didn't read enough to give it its proper chance at the hook. So I read all of that first chapter then. The book cover thought was good, like you were saying. I kind of felt like there's like a Great Gatsby look to the text and the font on the front and some of the colors, but it also kind of gave
Yes.
me like this feel of like, I like the colors. I like how you described it, The Wizard of Oz too a little bit. The Great Gatsby, and then some other element like a ancient samurai kind of look. Like, I don't know. I felt like I was picking up on something there too, but just intrigued by the title. Kind of going into it. I had high hopes for it, and that's not like I'm not saying that my hopes were diminished as I started reading it, but this week I also tried to revert back to not reading the summary of the book. So we started off with the first couple episodes where I didn't read the summary and I went into the book blind. And I just wanted to see how it picked up, not knowing what was going on, reading like the author's notes, like you said. We kind of read like read anything they offer up front, try to get through the good portion of chapter one, and then from there, kind of decide, critique it, decide on your opinion. So I didn't read the summary for this. So you've already kind of mentioned some of that opening scene, and I was very curious what was happening as far as like what I'm trying to picture in my head as far as who are these opening characters. And, like, the first thing that came to mind is, like, are we, like, in a Fern Gully situation here? Is this like the 1990 movies Fern Gully? We got the tree, and we have, is there some sort of battle? And I'm still not real clear. I started reading chapter 2, and they're talking about the vines of her hair growing out, and there were flowers in it. So I'm thinking there's a very, like, natural nature element going on, and I have to say, it
But they're
reminds
in
me
an
we were talking about
apartment in chapter 2.
you
But
feel like
they're in an apartment in
they're
chapter
in a
2
par
too. They're like it opens
mm,
because 'cause they're talking about, like, a landlady. I mean, it was just I was having a real hard time, like you say, creating the pictures in your head. I was having a real hard time because they were talking about feathers and wings. I was like, "Oh, it's this falcon guy," it's
yeah.
like, "Okay, I got it." But it was confusing. But, I mean, the writing was good, though. I mean, she has a like I said,
I
she's got a
agree.
good cadence of narration. I mean, just I wasn't really like, I feel like if that scene happened later in the book and there'd been some build up to it and it was like this big death, it would have been a really good scene. But since I didn't really care, because I haven't met them yet, I didn't really care about that this Falcon thing was dying because I don't even know what it is. I don't get it yet. So
Oh, you're
that's kind
that
of
part got you hung up because I think that didn't bother me as much. I felt like some of these other books that we've read with opening scenes that they just throw you right in, and that's I think the attempt of the hook. And so I honestly like at this point, I feel like desensitized to a very confusing opening. So I'm like, all right. And also like somebody dying off right away too. Like, okay, this is setting some sort of foundation. This is the end of an era, maybe. Like this is the great divine falcons. And I'm not even sure like if they were talking about I was getting real creative in my head because I felt like the story felt like it's gonna have some real creative substance. Like, are they even talk you're saying like you were thinking a bird, like Sonic the Hedgehog, like the owl, the mother owl, and I wasn't picturing that. I was picturing just more of a name or like a mystical creature. And then I was thinking, are they talking about the tree itself that they might be living in? And there's a battle going outside this tree. So I'm thinking of like there's a cartoon called Epic where there's a whole world out there, sort of like a modern day Fern Gully, where you can't see, like they talk about milkweed and like milkweed grows along the ditch. So if they're saying the mighty milkweed, these are like fairies, in my opinion. Like this book's talking about fairies and like, you know, enchanted creatures of the woods and the and nature. And that's how I started trying to picture it. But there were things like there's a battle and glass bombs. I'm like, why is there glass? I'm not sure, but I was intrigued by it. I do say the writing is really good, and I made a note and I said it was like very poetic feeling and just really good writing.
Yes.
I like the way it sounded. Yeah, and I don't well, I say sounded. I like the way it read and flowed, and I guess sounded as I'm reading it and interpreting it, and I liked it. I want to kind of keep going. For me, as a slow reader, it's gonna be too poetic, too drawn out, too much at
Yeah.
some point in the book. I mean, only reading a snippet, I did like it. I mean, I liked the writing ability. It was awesome.
I mean, definitely, she knows what she's doing as far as like how to the musicality, the cadence of how to
Yeah,
do it. She has a very good voice, I guess you'd say. So now the other
yeah.
one, Hydra's Wake by Daniel Jones. Now, which is also the name of the old New York Giants quarterback that tripped over his feet when he ran 80 yards down the field, and then he ran away from everybody, and then he just fell over. It was the weirdest thing.
Hmm.
I'll probably show something on the screen
I
so
wonder,
everyone
is this book
can laugh.
is this book gonna be the same thing?
No,
Is this book gonna be the same?
just
Oh,
kept the
well,
guy's name
goes
as
over
Daniel
down
Jones.
here, just like drops the story, you know?
No, I have no connection between Daniel Jones, the football player, and Daniel Jones, the author. It's just whenever I hear the name Daniel Jones, I just remember this guy because he's like running down the field, and you're like, man, he's gonna score this easy touch, and he just falls over. It's the most insane. He just ran out of gas. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this one is it opens with I read that for this one I read the we'll call it the prologue, which is basically the school where they're kind of explaining the world a little bit, but he crash lands in his airship, and then he's like everything hurts, which is weird. How can everything hurt? That doesn't even make sense. I mean, it would have been better if he had like some broken bones or something or some blood. He's just like everything hurts, and then he crawls to his airship and gets something. I wrote it down, a pain wipe, and he just whatever that is. You know what I mean? It's like basically a cortisone shot or something, and but you wipe it on or no, it is
Oh,
a
no,
shot. It
this
is
is
a
way
shot. It's
more tricky. It is a shot.
It is a shot. But it was called a pain wipe. So he takes this shot, and then it's
Yeah.
like basically a cortisone shot, and he can walk around. But this one is definitely a little like, especially when you come out of reading the other one, as far as the writing goes, as far as that what we're talking about, like that kind of that flow, that cadence. This one was definitely a lot clunkier. And he had like in some of his descriptions are weird. Like he said, what did he say? Cone shaped mountains is one that I came up with. You mean like mountain shaped? Like that, what other shape it like, what does that mean? But hey, we're in an environment. There's something interesting going on. And basically, I think in the prologue, and you just read this, so you can probably know it better than me. I think there's like two planets that are close together or something, and the airships kind of float
Yeah.
between them. Do you know? Do you want to clarify, or am I just? Do I sound crazy?
No, well, before I jump in, did you read the full sample or did you stop around the pain wipe shot?
Thing because I was like, this is silly. This pain wipe thing is
The
silly.
pain
I mean,
wipe silly.
basically what I did was I read it was silly, man. I was like, come on, I'd love this guy to have
I read
like
more. I
because
read more than
if he
you
had like
then. I
some
read more
broken
than you. Okay.
but I
So,
mean, writing was a little bit like it was like this, then this, then this, then it was it didn't have, as I said, it did not have that musicality, especially coming out of the other one.
so I think I'm like in a positive mood about these books this week, and maybe my critic is a little less strong for some reason. I do feel like the necessity of rain, all the things that were jumping out were a lot of positives versus like super criticizing it. Oh, it's poetic. When I mentioned Fern Gully, I'm not trying to like be like this is childish. I mean, I grew up with that, and like this epic movie with it's a cartoon. That's really good, like storyline telling too, even though it's a cartoon. I meant those as like compliments and intriguing because that's my childhood background. And like the nature thing, I work on a flower farm. They're throwing out like these little like fairy critters and they got like or people or warriors or whatever they may be. I mean, there's some bombs for some action, I guess, too. I don't know, but they're talking about milkweed and the flowers in the hair. I'm like, okay, I kind of want to know what is this world that we're in a little bit. So I think there was like a lot of positive things. This other book, though, looking at the cover, I was like, "Oh, there's an airship on it." Pete definitely picked this because of the airship on it. And the Hydra thing, though, reminds me of the last 2 books that we read last week with, like, the werewolf and the witch and very classic, like, mythological creatures. Let's throw it back to Bigfoot or the mermaids. And I'm like, I guess you're always gonna see these reoccurring creatures. Hydra's a fresh take, and if you read far enough, they actually talk about, I guess, like the beasts that are on the planet.
I sent
The
you I sent I sent you a note in the middle of the week and you didn't respond. I was like, he must not have read this yet because it was I just sent you one word. It was dirigible. I was like, what? I was like, I prefer the term airship myself.
I
Dirigible
hadn't read
just
it
it
yet.
just sounded a little funky off that sounded a little funky off the tongue. I was like,
Alright,
dirigible?
so
Honestly, it's I'm a little embarrassed because I
is that
wrote
a is
a
that a
book
re
with skyship. I'd never even heard of that word.
yeah, so did you go look it up
But
in a dictionary?
I did. I was like, "Oh, it means airship," but it doesn't sound as clean, I
Make
guess.
sure to put it
I don't know, I'm
on the
probably being a
screen when you edit this.
I will I'm like, it was a little like, I'm probably being a little touchy about it, but, like, when I heard it, I when I read it, I was like, "What the heck's a dirigible? Like, what is that?" Did you know what it was
I did not
before
look it up.
I
Well, it
okay.
sounded familiar, but I would not have been like, "That's a dirigible," like, dirigible, like, I was like, "Number 1, let me make sure I'm reading it correctly, like, make sure I have all the letters in the right spots before I start making up a word, like, it's a dribbable, I assumed it was an airship. The one thing I didn't look up was like, "Is this a real word or made up word?" I was like, "I'm just rolling on, man. I don't know. I don't it's fine."
It's a real
So
word.
that shows anybody watching this our qualifications of reviewing and critiquing these books, by the way. So, we can make fun of myself. It's all right. Enjoy the show. Grab a beer and watch with us. It's okay. It's like it's good. I read the
And
introduction,
we don't
and
know.
and the reason I said it, I think that I felt the introduction was a nice way to try to explain the world that we're about to be tossed into. We're in a classroom. So instead of the author just laying everything out directly to the reader, they're going to make it look like it's students asking a question to describe the thing. Maybe it's a little bit like, maybe it's a little more straightforward and not as advanced in like a way to work that in. I don't know. I actually appreciated it for once that I wasn't
I
lost. So there
appreciated it.
are 2 plans.
I
Yeah.
appreciated it.
There's 2 planets, one collided with the other, so it's slightly smaller. They called it a flat plate. I wasn't sure what that was, but I'm guessing the shape of the planet's not necessarily round, if that's literal, like, meaning that it was the shape of it. But I figure, like, science would say there has to be some sort of roundness to the planet, if it has any sort of axle that it's rotating on or anything like that. But either way, they're sharing the same atmosphere, so these airships can go in between them. And I'm visualizing that in my head. I'm kind of like, well, I like that too. And even with those questions, they define what that airspace is called, the trade wind. So I'm like, they really lay it out for you to be able to like, as an introduction, here it is.
Follow
If it felt
along.
a little too yeah, if it felt a little too spelled out, that's why it's the introduction. So I was actually pleased with that. As I said, I being positive this week. I liked it. I was like, here we go. Good. Let's jump in. Now, chapter 1. You mentioned some of the things like the description of the mountain and the uh pain wipe. Number 1, calling it a pain wipe, I was thinking he was gonna wipe something on his body and not a shot. So I was wondering why he was getting nervous about preparing for it, like breathing in and out really deeply. But once it was a shot, it kind of made more sense to me because yeah, it's something I can picture, like a RPG game where you run around shooting people and you pick up the little like pain spikes or whatever, like and then you like your healing comes back. That's kind of what I was picturing in my head. The whole body hurting and you couldn't move. That didn't really. They kind of wrote that off like with this airbag jacket he wears, this thing,
Right.
and you threw shade at it. Maybe it was a quick and easy way to say he's hurt and he doesn't know what happened, but he's gonna be okay. So don't worry about it. He doesn't have lacerations. He's not bleeding out. He doesn't have broken bones. So he's in bad shape right now, but we're gonna get through this quickly. He's gonna get this painkiller and we're gonna keep moving along. And I will say, it seems like it moves along pretty quickly because I don't think you got this part, but next thing you know, he's on his hang glider getting away from this wreck, and he flies to the camp.
He's
And
got
so
a
we
hang
get
glider?
Oh, yeah, that's his little,
That's all
like, quick
like
getaway thing that was part of the thing. So it's very fast, it's moving along. So they introduce you to the different beasts he might encounter. There's one that shows up, but there's something about it. It has a collar on it, so it's domesticated or trained. And then he flies away, so that's all behind him. And then he gets to this camp. My first real critique My first real critique of this book is the notice in the camp, okay? And I felt like I accepted all the fast-paced nature of this book where he wants to keep moving along, and I don't know how from chapter to chapter it will progress, but they get to this camp and it's like everything's unlocked, everything's really clean and prestige condition, which is kind of as a hook to me, like what's gonna happen at this camp? Why is it like this? Why is it the ghost town? It looks good to go, but it just says we'll be back in like the next evacuation is in August. Stay alive until then. Number one, the notes like, and it's all like bolded, and it's this warning, but it's like kind of this playful warning. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not playful, but it says they'll pay them for any work they do, which is kind of like if you're there, work and we'll pay you or comp you. And then in the meantime, stay alive, and it's kind of like, and so here's what gets me. The main character seems to accept that notice, like, I'm here till August. And maybe I didn't read it enough, but I feel like he's like, okay, it's May. I better hunker in and check everything out because I'll be here till August. Where in the very beginning, he's like, which way do I go on the railway? Do I follow this rail track into the camp or in this other direction? And I'm like, so he's going to just stay there till August? Now, I didn't read enough, but then I started skimming ahead a little bit after this just to like see because I was running out of time. And I was like, it looks like he's exploring the facilities and checking it out. I didn't see anything like throw up like, oh, let me pause and read this drama or action. So the hook to me right now is that he's in this abandoned facility. But the problem that I have is right as he's introducing the hook, there's this notice and the acceptance where before he's like, I know I can't sit still. I got to keep moving. There's all these beasts. I'm flying to a camp after I see something. And then it's like, oh, I'll be here till August. I'll accept it. I'll accept it, but I didn't like it. I'll accept it though.
It just felt really, really distant. I never really felt like I was quite in his shoes, even when I was, because and the monologue just it didn't you're not getting anything other than the what's immediately in front of him. He's not thinking about his past at all. He's not thinking about why he got here. And of course, they indicate that maybe he's got a little bit of amnesia. But they kind of go back and forth on that. Like he remembers, then he doesn't remember, and then it was a little confusing with what was just going on in his head. And I was trying to follow along with it. But are you are we ready to hold up our fingers? I do want to get into the what we're gonna do next week
You,
because
you're
I
not
have a
gonna.
proposal for you.
Do you have a clear winner this week?
I here's the thing. If I'm being honest, I did not love these 2 compared to some other weeks. I mean, honestly, if I'm just
Okay.
because here's the thing. I wish we could combine them because I think the strengths of one is like I think they both have strengths and weaknesses. I think in a lot of ways they're total opposites. I think I would have loved a lot more clear plotting and scene building and setting description and just the world building like the Hydra thing over in the other one. I think they both have strengths and weaknesses, but I do know which one if that I would be willing to continue with. And the other one I would well, I'll read either one of these if that's what happens, but I know
So
which one
what's
I'd rather keep
we're doing
reading for
we're
sure.
doing we're doing fingers this week.
But
We're gonna do the finger raising this week for who we pick.
do you want to do Necessity of Rain as number 1 and Hydra's Wake is number 2?
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
I am going to say 3, 2, 1 and then we'll do it. All right? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, damn, we did it again. We did it again. We did it
Well,
again.
if
Every
you pick
week, man.
if you pick
Every week.
no, let's all right. So I'm gonna go with two then. I'm gonna go with two. So I'm gonna say it this way. Liked The Necessity of Rain a lot, and I wanna keep reading it because I wanna explore the writing and ability and the poetic style of it, and then the natural element. I am a little concerned that, like, the hook is not there, which I said is a big deal with this book battle is a hook. So I think that that first chapter was good. There was some action there, and they drag her off, all these different things. So I think there was enough there. So I'm not that there wasn't a hook, but going into the chapter two, I'm a little nervous that all of a sudden we're going to slow down a lot. The other book was moving so fast that for me, I feel like I didn't. I'm curious to see how it continues. I'm also just nervous that it's going to be a little loose and more playful and casual of storytelling where there might lack depth or what as you say, they're opposite books. So, I mean, in some aspects. So I'm kind of like in one, I'm nervous it might slow down too much. And the other with the fast pace, I'm also nervous that we're gonna lose details that might be enjoyed by like some really, really, really amazing writing from what it sounds like. So I went with one in my mind going into this. I expected you to convince me. And then the way you were criticizing the whole time, I really thought you were going with book one. So I'm really surprised to hear you went with book two. But I was pretty
And
close to
again,
choosing book two just because if we were truly going to keep, well,
well, that's it. If I'm gonna keep reading, the other one just like I mean, even like, and again, this is to say, I think she's like a good writer. Like, and I know we say, and I know we sometimes it sounds like we just throw that out every week. No, I think she's a really good writer. I think she is. I don't think that book is for me. I mean, it's like it seems like just from the way she's talking about it in her author's note, it seems like it's all about grief and blah blah blah. I mean, I mean, I'm not here to be bummed out, you know? I
yeah.
mean, it's and the other one seems like even though it seems like a B movie. That's what it seems like. It seems like a B movie, which I enjoy B movies, you know. I enjoy that kind of thing.
But you're okay
But
you're okay sitting there and watching it and, like, enjoying the B-movie quality of it. I mean, I think this, The Necessity of Rain is gonna be a sidebar for me. So even though it didn't win this week, I think I'm gonna continue to review the sample, and then I might even pull the trigger on, read the full thing if it seems to continue to build into this world. I may be all wrong. I don't know. I was still a little confused, so maybe that's why I didn't win this week on what's really happening in this environment in this world, but still.
okay, well, I mean, so you're changing your answer. I mean, like I said, you could try to convince me. I mean, it wouldn't take much for you to convince me
No,
to change teams,
no,
but you feel good? All right,
nope,
you're good. All right.
nope.
So
I
my
feel good.
nope,
I
nope,
feel
not doing
good.
it. So next week, if we do it next week, I think we will. Um I is we're gonna what we're gonna do is we're gonna take my plan was to take our six winners, and then what we would do is we would each rank them. I'll give we'll just basically do a power ranking. Like I'll give my number six, and you'll give your number six, and we'll give number six 0 points, and we'll give number five 1, 4, 2. You know what I'm saying? And then and then between the two of us, we'll have a list that has a point ranking associated with it. And then based on that, we'll read some of them. I don't know how much I want to reveal.
Well, are we reading anything for next episode, or are we simply going to reveal, our weighted averages of the winners?
What we will do is we will read more via vis-a-vis the samples. We're still going to be drawing on the samples. So reading more of the samples enough to where we feel like we can just compare them against each other. We should read a little bit more of all the winners though. We should read at least a little bit
Okay.
more of all the winners. That's why I was saying like maybe not do one next week, but maybe we will. I mean, we'll see if we feel good about it in the middle of the week. See if we have enough to rank. I mean, if we do, we'll do
Yeah.
a show next week. But here is my proposal because you're not as big a fan of the NFL as I am, but I am a big sports guy. Not only the NFL, but Major League Baseball and hockey too. What they have in the playoffs is they have something called a wild card. So I actually have a proposal that we have a wild card, and we would decide the wild card right now. And here's my proposal to you that each of us write down a book that was knocked out. And if we put the same book up, that book goes into the next round. What do you think of this proposal?
This is crazy. Like, so what happens if we don't
Yeah,
pick the
so
same wild card book? We're just scratching it?
or another possibility we could do. I don't. This would really put the wild card team behind the eight ball, but maybe that's fine because it's a wild card team. But maybe what we could do is we could just say the wild card team that we pick. So maybe there could be two wild card teams if we pick the same one, but only we can rank the wild card team next week. So maybe that will affect how many points it could possibly get. Or we could just say, hey, if we don't match, the wild card doesn't happen.
It has to be the same one. It
Okay,
has to be the
we will
same
do it.
one.
So it has to be this. All right. I love it.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
think it has
have
to be
yours
the
in
same
mind?
one because then we're gonna be revealing. I'm trying to think. It's a toss up because, um, like things we just read that I think we thought were great, like The Necessity of Rain. Interesting. Interesting. All right. I know that you're not picking The Necessity of Rain, and that would be one that I might pick. because we just read it and I'm intrigued by it. But I think if we went back through, if we read everything at once in one day, I might have a different selection for my wild card than what's on the tip of my mind. So if there's a chance for this to be re-entered into book battle with hooks in mind and intrigue and ability to keep going, I think I know which one I'd want. So I'm ready to
Okay.
show you the one that I picked on my screen.
All right.
You
I
ready?
also am
Are you
ready.
how are you feeling through this? You
I
ready?
wrote mine on
3, 2,
with
1.
pencil. Yes.
I can't see your paper. Can you see mine?
Yes, Bigfoot. Yes. 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 All right. She's going in the finals.
Something
Like that
Bigfoot,
one.
something about Bigfoot, you know, I drove
I
through
was
Whitehall the
like,
other day coming back from Vermont. We drove through Whitehall where this, book takes place too, so I'm actually kind of intrigued to see, where it goes and continues, so I don't know.
that's the thing. I was like, it was wearing on me. I was like, man, I really want to know where we're going with it. It's like, what are they going to do there? So I
That's
was like,
something else
man,
that
maybe I'll
stuck
just
out to you. I was intrigued by from day one in that episode. I was just like going and going and going about wanting the Bigfoot book to win. And it was like, I think I thought it was going to win. And I started reading. I was like, I really just, the hook was a little bit more on the other one. And just, all right, I'm not mad about that, especially with the time of year that we're doing this.
well, congratulations to the Hydra's wake. And also congratulations to I know what I saw because you made it. You
Yeah.
did it.
Cheers.
All right, that's it for round one. If you want to follow along, like and subscribe. 12 contestants have been reduced to 7, and after next week, only 3 will survive.